The first day of the new school year at Bridgewood High began like a storm slowly brewing. Clouds hung low in the sky as students shuffled into the building, dragging their feet in low expectations. In the teacher's lounge, whispers were already circling like vultures. She won't last. They never do. Bridgewood eats principals alive. And outside the main entrance, leaning on a handrail, a group of students watched the doors with smirks stretched across their faces. Ethan, Max, Harper, and Shay, the self-proclaimed rulers of Bridgewood, were legends, but not for good reason. They didn't play by the rules. They mocked anyone who tried to enforce them. They were the reason 3 principals had quit in the last 2 years. "She's supposed to be some city woman," Ethan muttered, chewing gum like it was a symbol of his arrogance. "Bet she's already regretting accepting the job." That was before she walked in. Dressed in a dark blue blouse and black slacks, Principal Aria Bennett walked through the school doors without hesitation. Her steps were steady, her eyes forward, and her presence alone made the hallway fall silent for a split second. She was tall, elegant, and carried an air of unspoken strength that no one could quite put their finger on. She nodded politely to students and teachers as she passed, her hands steady, her breath even. What nobody knew, yet, was that Aria Bennett had seen storms before. She had once been a student just like them. Bullied, laughed at, ignored. But years ago, after breaking down behind closed doors, she had taken a different path. She walked into a martial arts dojo at age 14, lost and angry, and walked out 4 years later with a black belt and a mindset of steel. She learned something more valuable than how to fight. She learned how to stand. Now, she was standing again. But this time, for an entire school. During the first assembly, Principal Bennett took the stage. She didn't speak like someone trying to impress anyone. She spoke like someone who already knew who she was. "I've heard a lot about Bridgewood High," she began. "I know many of you believe this school can't be changed. That the rules don't matter, and respect is optional. But I didn't come here to control you. I came here to believe in you, even if no one else has." Ethan rolled his eyes and muttered, "How long before she runs?" The next few days were tense. The bullies started small, name-calling in the hallway, sticking gum to her office door, whispering behind her back. Aria didn't react. Instead, she smiled, listened, observed. She wasn't in a rush to punish, she was building a strategy. Teachers noticed a shift. She held staff meetings daily, introduced mental health support, created safe spaces. But the bullies, especially Ethan's group, saw this as weakness. They ramped things up. One afternoon, while Aria was walking to her car, she found the word, "fake," spray-painted in red across the windshield. A few students nearby laughed and pretended not to see. Aria stood there for a moment, then calmly opened her door, got in, and drove away. No anger, no complaints. The next morning, she stood in front of the entire school and said, "Some people use words and actions to try to tear others down. Not because they are strong, but because they are afraid. I know who did it. But I won't embarrass them. Not yet. Because everyone deserves a chance to do better." For the first time, Ethan's smirk twitched. But they weren't done. 2 weeks later, during a school-wide talent show, the group executed their biggest prank yet. They had secretly edited together clips of Principal Bennett from security footage, picking up trash, adjusting her clothes, even yawning, and turned it into a mock video titled, "Karate Queen Can't Keep It Together." As the screen lit up in the auditorium, laughter erupted. Some students were shocked. Others laughed nervously. The bullies sat proud, basking in the chaos they'd created. Principal Bennett stepped onto the stage, took the microphone, and calmly said, "Thank you for the preview. Now let me show you the full story." She paused, then removed her heels and walked to the center of the gym floor. From behind the curtain, she brought out a training mat. The entire room fell into a hush. She bowed slightly, then entered a martial stance. In a matter of seconds, she delivered a flurry of perfectly controlled movements, swift kicks, precise punches, flowing forms that moved like water and struck like lightning. The gym was silent. You could hear the air shift with every movement she made. And then, with a final strike, she split a thick wooden board in half. Gasps echoed. Then came silence. Aria stood tall and spoke, "I earned my black belt not to hurt people, but to protect my peace. To protect others. And to teach self-control. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest. It's the one who knows who they are, and doesn't need anyone's permission to be it." Ethan stared at her, stunned. For the first time in his life, he felt small, not because someone yelled at him, but because someone had stood taller without even raising their voice. After that day, everything began to change. Arya started martial arts classes after school, not for self-defense, but for discipline, focus, and inner strength. To everyone's shock, Harper joined first. Then Shay. Then Max. And finally, weeks later, Ethan. It wasn't easy. He resisted. He mocked. But slowly, through bruises, sweat, and silence, he began to change. One afternoon, Arya pulled him aside and asked, "Why did you really hate authority so much?" He shrugged. "I guess, no one ever really gave me a reason to respect it. Everyone just tried to control me." She looked at him gently. "You don't control people with fear. You lead them with dignity. That's what you've been missing." By the end of the semester, Ethan stood at the front of the gym, not as a bully, but as a speaker. His voice trembled slightly as he said, "I was wrong. I thought being feared meant being strong. But Principal Bennett showed me that real strength is in being calm, steady, and better than who you were yesterday." The students clapped. Arya stood in the back, arms folded, a soft smile on her face. Not prideful, just quietly fulfilled. She had come into a broken school where fear ruled every hallway. She didn't shout. She didn't punish with rage. She moved with quiet purpose, just like every movement she had ever learned in the dojo. Message of the story. Strength isn't about fists, fear, or control. True strength is knowing yourself, standing tall without needing to shout, and choosing to build instead of break. Principal Arya Bennett didn't shut down bullies with violence, she shut them down with wisdom, discipline, and the kind of respect that can't be demanded, only earned.